You say go.
Action!
So then we've discussed 5 qualities that our young ones can imitate or can have in serving Jehovah. Let's interview 2 young sisters in our circuit that have shown a couple of these qualities. First of all, we have Sister Shane Conti from the Lake Hazel congregation. Shane is 17 years old. First of all, we're going to focus on the quality of love with Shane. Shane, what circumstances or pressure did you experience while you were a teenager?
When I was 13 years old, my mom was disfellowshipped and left just me and my dad on our own. After that time, people wanted to know how I was, but I felt like I was getting sidelined a bit. I was getting bombarded with questions, but I felt like most of them were heading towards how my mom was.
Gotcha. All right then, so then how did these circumstances or this pressure turn into a weakness that you had?
Well, I had a hard time showing love. I didn't like to open up and talk, so I would constantly put up a wall where if people were to ask me how I was and show me love, it would just bounce right off back towards them. I was thankful for the love that was being shown to me, but I was having a really hard time accepting it.
Very good. Yeah, that makes sense. You're a very polite young lady, but yeah, maybe the accepting and expressing love was the challenge for you. Okay, so then how did you learn to accept and express love?
Well, a certain sister approached me multiple times, but I would turn her down every time. So this one time, she urged me to talk and sat me down, and she was so genuine and kind. She showed so much love towards me, and it made me realize how much really she did care for me and that she didn't give up on me. So I was able to see that love was there for me all along. All
right. So then how did this impact you? How did you use what you learned as far as showing love toward others?
Well, a friend of mine out of state contacted me, and she was going through a similar circumstance. Her mom had gotten disfellowshipped and left, and she was left alone with her father and 2 siblings, and she was having a really hard time. She needed some advice. I remember the sister who showed me love and how much I was grateful, so I made sure and reciprocated that love towards her and helped her the best I could.
Good. Nice. And so this is a supplemental question, what was the result for that sister with you showing her that love?
Well, she started a study with another sister in her congregation. She excelled really quickly because she took the love and consideration that I showed her and showed it toward her sister. And she wants to do a Need Greater trip with some friends of hers, and now she's studying with a younger sister in her congregation too.
Nice. Very nice. And I heard she had a goal to start regular pioneering.
Yes.
And that Need Greater trip was to where?
Thailand.
Man, that sounds pretty exciting. All right, so then, how was your life before you learned to express love? How would you kind of sum it up?
Well, before I was stressed out all the time. I was sad. I started getting sick a lot, and I was just starting to surround myself with negative things, which then led me to miss a lot of meetings. I was on a steady beat of staying in one place. I wasn't decreasing and I wasn't increasing.
That makes sense. So then, how is your life now?
Well, I talk to Jehovah all the time, and I know that He's always there for me. I'm a lot bolder with showing love with everyone in my congregation and even others that I just meet. And I'm no longer bitter towards others anymore. And all in all, I'm just excited about where my life is headed.
Very nice. Thank you, Sister Conchi. All right, now we're going to turn our attention. Hold the applause for the end, please. No, very nice. So now we're going to turn our attention to Sister Brooklyn Christie. She is 16 years old, also in the Lake Hazel congregation in Meridian. We're going to focus on the quality of faith with Brooklyn. The first question we have is, what circumstances or pressure challenged your faith?
Well, when I was growing up, my dad was in and out of the truth my whole life. He would always bring in psychology based on Eastern religion, thoughts of evolution into the house, and even on school nights, we'd be up till 2 a.m. talking about all of those things, and I never really got a break from that.
Wow, constant pressure. Okay, so then how did this lead to a weakness for you?
Well, between the ages 10 and 14, I started questioning the truth. Growing up, there was always seeds of doubt that were planted in my mind, and so those began to manifest themselves as I got older, and I started to think in man's logic, and it made me apathetic towards the truth.
Very good. So then what did you tell your mom when you were 14 years old?
Well, I said, when I'm 18, I'm leaving the truth. It didn't matter to me anymore, and I was just ready to quit.
Gotcha. So then what did your mom say?
Well, being a mom, she was honestly worried. But the way she reacted was very valid. She said that if I gave it 30, she wanted me to give it 30 days of heartfelt giving to Jehovah and to see if I was happier before I did that or after.
Very good. Okay, so did it work?
It did.
Excellent. And so then what challenge in this past, how would you say that your life is better now?
Well, I'm much more confident. Before I had any faith and before any of that was manifest, I had panic attacks all the time. I was constantly bombarded with anxiety and depression. I had nowhere to turn to, and I didn't have faith in anything. And so it constantly made me unable to breathe. It made me uneasy to even talk to anyone.
Right. And so now?
Well, now I'm confident. I'm able to talk to anybody that I meet in the ministry. I'm able to give a reply to people who want to know more about, my faith and just really being able to talk to people. I'm not depressed, I'm happy, and my life is headed in a good place.
Nice. So then this past May, you faced another kind of challenge. What was that?
Well, my dad offered me a full ride to college to get either my PhD or my doctorate in psychology or any field of my choice, and that had always been a pull for me, so that was definitely pulling in my flesh.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. So then, were you confident when you were faced with that?
Not actually, not really. It was a difficult decision to make.
Okay, so then how did you make a good decision?
Well, using the faith that I built in Jehovah, I first went to the broadcast that had just come out on higher education. And then I studied further on the topic, and I prayed. And, relying on Jehovah made the decision clear. Where, as before, it would have just been up to my logic, and now it was easy from relying on Jehovah to make my decision.
Very nice. Well, thank you, Sister Christy and Sister Conti. Applause.
I'm going to applaud myself. I don't care.
I'm not ashamed.